No, I pushed the button. Happy Halloween Horror Month. Pay no attention to the clown in the background. Before I start, I have sat here and did the whole review of this movie I'm about to review. I pushed record. I know I did. But it didn't record. So I'm going to have to review it. I'm going to do it, I'm going to do just as good as I did last time. Because usually when I have to re-record, re-record, it's a shorter review. And I don't want that because I thought I did a pretty good job. So, here we go one more time. Since I started reviewing movies on this channel, I've wanted to do this movie. Movie? The Kiss from 1988. It's a horror film. But I waited because I started doing my schedule, right? In August, I was, Kiss. I want to do that movie. Then I started doing, I'm going to finish my Paranormal Activity movies, right? So I did that. And then I'm like, you know what? I should start working on a schedule. September is going to be whatever. It started with Batman, all that other stuff. And then Friday the 13th came around because I didn't realize that was going to be a thing until the last minute. So I did those. And then I did the Chucky movies to finish up the month. Like, okay, that's enough horror for the month. Plus I did those other 2 horror movies. And the Paranormal Activities started off. So, I'm like, you know what? I should do this movie in October. Not only that, but it should be the first review of Halloween Horror Month here on the channel. So, you know what? I'm wearing this Hawaiian shirt to distract from the back that I'm wearing a pink shirt, but it's too freaking hot. I mean, it's cooler out, but I don't open a window because you could hear out there. I'm already sitting here for like 20 minutes doing a review that's... Anyway, let's talk about The Kiss from 1988. If you haven't heard of this movie, there's probably a good reason why. Because you can't find it anywhere. Alright? When I first watched it on one of the higher up movie channels, like HBO, Cinemax, probably HBO, back in the early 2000s. And I remember not knowing the name of it. I remember watching it and thinking this movie's actually pretty good. I could tell it was 80s or 90s type horror movie. Maybe late 80s, early 90s because they had some kind of feel. And it was actually pretty enjoyable for me. Now having watched it probably a handful of times, I do have some problems, which I'm going to get into. But overall, I still think it's a pretty good film. So I'm going to give it no, I haven't gone through it yet. Joke. I kid. Okay, so what, you may be asking, Scotty, what do you mean by you can't find it anywhere? You start talking about movie channels. Well, you see, when I started doing eBay earlier this year, right? When I started, everything for eBay. That's one of the first things I searched for because I wanted this movie on physical media. There is no DVD release, no Blu-ray release. You can only get it on VHS. I had to watch this on YouTube. That's how I've been watching it the last couple of years, is on YouTube. Because they've had it on YouTube. I didn't know if they still had it on there, because there's some movies I've watched on YouTube they don't have anymore. Like Dream a Little Dream and Dream a Little Dream 2, they're not on YouTube anymore. Because I don't think Dream a Little Dream 2 is. I've never searched for that. Never had the thought to search for it. You know my views on that movie. But, so, I even did this before I went to work this morning. I gotta make sure that it's on there, so I searched. No, it was last night. Yeah, I think it was last night. but I searched The Kiss, and it just popped up, The Kiss 1988, because I'd already searched for it before, so it saved my search. And this was like a year ago I searched for it, because I watched it last Halloween before I started doing reviews. So you can say it's a Halloween ritual. Even if by next year I have to do different horror movie reviews, at least I can still watch this, at one point. But keep it a tradition. Yeah, there's no DVD release, no Blu-ray, VHS. That's it. It's one of those movies from the 80s that hasn't been released yet, and it deserves a release. Scream Factory. Come on, release a Blu-ray of The Kiss from 1988. I'll buy the hell out of that, man. Well, I'll buy one, but you know what I mean. So, what is the story? Let's get to the story. All right, the story centers on a curse passed down through the bloodline, which confused me. And now that I've thought about it, it's still confusing on how it works. But I'll discuss that at the end. But basically, what it is the first scene is. There's two sisters, Felice and whoever the mom's real name is. I don't know. But Felice is taken away by her aunt to go on some trip. And who would eventually become the mom of the story is left behind. And on this train that they're on, weird things start to happen. The aunt starts to act weird. And she reaches out and she puts her mouth against. Basically, it's basically a kiss to her niece, and the thing crawls out, goes into the niece, and when the train guy comes to check on them, the aunt's decomposed and Felice is gone. We then transition to 25 years later in 1988, where Felice is now trying to contact her sister so she can spread the curse to Amy, but her sister says no, and her sister dies in some tragic accident when a motor vehicle, or a car, hits her. So then about a month later, after the death and the funeral, Felice shows up and tries to work her way into their lives so she could get her hands on Amy, which is the daughter. And it's shown that Amy is a valid swimmer in this. I mention that because towards the end, I'm going to have to bring that full circle. And that might even be a directing error. But, so, Felice shows up, and she shows a lot of interest in Amy. But Amy doesn't know her, has nothing to do with her. And this causes a problem when her friend makes fun of her. And Felice puts a curse on her. That it's shown... it's implied that, you're definitely sure that Felice killed her own sister so she can get to Amy. And then she's doing these weird rituals. She does it once when she doesn't kill. It's the only time that she doesn't kill someone when she does the ritual. She seriously maims or injures Amy's friend. And she causes the necklace to get caught in the escalator at the mall. And it, sort of crushes her face a little bit, but she's still alive. We don't see her for the rest of the film, but she's still alive. The next time is when, because I think that's, I don't think there's any more between then, but there's, this love interest, Terry, played by Shawn Levy. The director, Shawn Levy, has a part in this movie. Guy who directed Cheaper by the Dozen and the Night at the Museum movies and produced Stranger Things. He has a small part in this. He's not bad for what he has to do. Although they make a point of showing the fact that he loses his earring stud. Right away, when they first introduce him, he's already lost it in a cake that he brought. And then, something I didn't talk about didn't mention in my other review that's not never gonna get seen, but to do these rituals, she has to use something personal of the how she killed the she had the Bible, something personal of theirs. So with the friend, she used her sunglasses because she was behind. And that's all she overheard. She would bring them back, and she overheard her say bad things about her. And it's Terry Stud that falls out when he walks in on her at the hotel doing a ritual. It's the preacher's Bible. She starts ripping pages out to do her ritual with, and he spontaneously combusts in the elevator while trying to talk to Jack, which is the dad, trying to get to him to tell him what's going on, because the mother tried to tell the preacher and the preacher wouldn't listen. But if she would tell the preacher, why wouldn't she tell her own husband about her sister? Why wouldn't she ever say, if my sister comes around, don't let Amy near her? I can't tell you why, just don't do it. You gotta trust me. I don't know why she wouldn't say that, but I don't know. Yeah. The only times I can think of she used it, the ritual, those 3 times. And 2 of them were kills, but yeah, Terry's kill is that he's hit by a car and they say he jumped in front of it, they committed suicide. And then the preacher, like I said, spontaneously combusts in the elevator. Yeah, so, Amy tries to tell her dad what's going on, but he's basically been hypnotized by Felice because she seduces him. They talk about her going to a hotel, you know, she does eventually. And that night, she's gonna go to the hotel the next day, but that night, a stray cat, attacks Jack and scratches him, which causes Felice and him to get closer, and they end up having sex. While this is happening, Amy is at school, and it's like, has her period. Like, I think they say she went through a whole period right there, which makes me think maybe Felice did that because the period would have stopped the transference. I didn't think of that till just now. That was something that wasn't in any other review. Just thought of that. What if the period would have stopped it? And now that it's over very quickly, there's nothing in the way except for maybe Jack and Brenda. Brenda is the family friend, by the way, and Amy confides in her what's going on, and Brenda sort of believes her. Felice cuts herself earlier in the film, and she brings sample that blood to a lab to get tested. And they tell her that they've only seen blood like that in corpses, which means Felice is technically dead. So she tries to. So she also learns that Terry, quote unquote, committed suicide earlier that night. So she gets a hold of Jack, who's about to leave for a business trip, but she gets a hold of him and tells him about the blood, and he still doesn't believe her. But then when she mentions about Terry killing himself, quote unquote, he believes her because his wife also died in that same sort of way. So it kind of makes it connect with something's not right. They get back to the house, and cause Amy's supposed to meet Terry at the park. Well, Terry's dead, so he didn't show up. But Felice is there, and eventually Felice gets a hold of Amy, and when Jack shows up, she tells Jack that if she doesn't transfer this curse into Amy, Amy will die. I don't get that because she was perfectly fine before she got captured. Other than the period thing, which Felice caused. So it doesn't really make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But she does look pale, but that could be a trick so that Jack would let her do the ritual. Well, her and Jack end up doing it, and it's basically a distraction so Brenda can come in and save Amy. The cat creature attacks them, and Brenda kills the cat creature, which angers Felice. This whole thing ends up at the climax in the pool, where we have a little bit of a problem. I don't know if it was direction or the way it was shot, but it's really the first out of two problems I have with this movie. The first, this one, is the fact that they have shown us that Amy is a swimmer. That's what she wants to be. It's what she does. It's what she's good at. And yet she can't get out of the damn pool. This is what happens. Felice tries to transfer by kiss the curse. She's put out of the way. The creature type thing comes out of her. Body decomposes. The body starts to decompose, and it goes down to the bottom of the pool. The creature's skimming around, and at one point, the propane tank gets let loose from the grill, and it starts setting stuff on fire or whatever. Like it's going to explode, and so it's going to explode. Creatures in the pool, and they got to get Amy out of the pool. And there is literally a scene where they're trying to pull her out of the pool, and she gets out of the pool, and then falls back in just so it can explode, and we don't know if she survived or not. And then it shows that Brenda saved her at the last second. Brenda's holding her in her arms. Now, I can't remember. I was a little bit distracted. I can't remember if they directly showed the creature dying or not. But if they didn't, I always thought, what if the creature got inside her and the curse was passed? But I'm pretty sure it's dead. But this also leads me to my other problem. The curse itself. Alright? The curse itself makes no sense. First of all, there's two ways to go about it if you think about it. The first way, if it only can go between aunts and nieces, you know how long it's going to be for this to work. If it ever happens. If Jack ever gets remarried, has another kid, and that kid has a kid, and then you can pass it on that way. And for the possibility that maybe they both have to be girls, or if one of them has to be a girl and the other one has to be, well, at least one of them has to be a girl, has to be spread. If we're going this way, niece, aunt to niece. You know how long that would be? How long would she get before she decomposed? I don't know how old Felice was. I'm assuming like 38 years old at this point. Is what I calculated. About 38. Before, she's already getting that. It seems like every time she uses her dark magic, it gets worse. But if you also look from the other way, it still doesn't make any sense. If she has to go from bloodline to bloodline, after Amy, there is no more bloodline unless it would have to wait for Amy would actually have to get married, then have a child. And if the creature thing was in charge of her, I don't think it would want to get married to have another child just to pass on the blood. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll somewhat control her. I don't know. But it wouldn't make any sense. I don't know. The curse just doesn't make any sense. Especially when there's no one after Amy to pass it to. And the fact that she'll have to wait longer. She's supposed to, 16 here? 17? Wait longer for her to find someone to fall in love. Plus, you got the creature inside her, so how's that going to work? Can the creature procreate with a human? And if that's the case, then wouldn't it be already passed to the child? Ooh, that'd be interesting. I mean, that's an interesting way to go. Like, the creature's in Amy, right? She then procreates with a man. And they have a a baby, and that's already inside of it. In that case, then, it would be when the baby is born, the mother would die. Amy would die at birth, and the child would get the curse passed on to it right away. Interesting twist. Could have been an interesting way to do a sequel if they ever wanted to. Also, if this was made now, there could be an easy twist to this that could stop the curse in its tracks. And that is that if it was made in this day and age, Amy is a lesbian. That would stop the curse. Like, they pass it on, and then all she's got to do is pass it on to the next generation. But if she's a lesbian, sure, she could adopt children, but it won't be her bloodline. And therefore, the curse would be ended unless she had a brother in that version, or a sister who ends up having a kid. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, very convoluted to get where they want to get the curse to work. Just doesn't make any sense. I'm just saying. Anyway, despite the two problems I have with this movie, I still enjoy it very much. Like I said, it's probably going to be a Halloween mainstay for me. Every year I'm going to watch it at some point. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on The Kiss from 1988? If you've seen it, which you probably haven't because it's like nowhere but YouTube. Look it up on YouTube and watch that shit because it's a good movie. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Happy Halloween Horror Month. Happy October. And I'll see you next time. Peace, love, peace, chicken grease. You know what I mean.